Well, it's an important fact of both of them. They're both 0-2, and right now these guys want to get it going because you know what? They want to get that one victory notch on their records.
And so Valpo in gold, Ole Miss in white. The Rebels take it over with their point guard, Michael White, controlling. White, not much of a shooter. There's Keith Carter, and he will. Carter, a good outside shooter.
You can watch the movement right now of Keith Carter moving around the zone completely. They're going to have to make sure and get an opportunity now to stop the missed three-point shooting in order to get this game off to a good start for Valpo.
Jamie Sykes is running at Ansu Cisse. This is an interesting match as Jason Smith misses and Valpo rebounds with Viskovich. They have 5'11", Jamie Sykes trailing 6'9", Cisse.
You know what I mean? Exactly right. But they got to put somebody on that guy that's going to bother him a little bit.
Now stepping out of bounds was Ole Miss, but I believe there's going to be a foul called on Valpo. A foul on Bill Jenkins, preventing a breakaway.
But it's a tremendous play again by Jason Smith because he is a guy who is a tremendous athlete for this Ole Miss basketball team. Matter of fact, you just saw him right there playing so strong and so hard. He leads this team in his 7th in the SEC in steals.
Now Ole Miss has Sykes, or Valpo rather, has Sykes, the 5'11" guard. Now he's running at Keith Carter. Apparently Homer Drew trying to change his defenses up early in the game to confuse Ole Miss.
Well, they're trying to keep them guessing right now. And they wanted to do exactly just that, not have an opportunity to get off to a good start in shooting those three-pointers.
Now that Bryce Drew had his dribble bothered. It's knocked out of bounds and last touched by the great Valpo guard. And so Ole Miss creates the second turnover.
You got guys going for it in this tournament. I'm telling you, the ball gets loose right here, and you see guys diving in. A lot of skinned knees today, Ted. A lot of skinned knees.
Well, Valpo and Homer Drew, their coach, very respectful of Ole Miss's defense. Homer Drew talked to other coaches and said it might be the best that they've seen. This foul going against the Rebels.
I tell you what, Boone just cleared out Vilshinskis down there too, boy. I tell you what, it's almost like a little bit of a football matchup right there with those guys and their tremendous size that they have there. Big impact, Ed.
So Valpo with the ball. This is their 3rd straight appearance in the tournament. They gave Boston College a pretty good run last year before losing in the first round. 2 years ago, blown out by Arizona. And inside, Tony Vilshinskis from Lithuania. That's the first points of the game.
Now that's where Mississippi's going to have to make sure and get it all together, especially with the big guys inside.
Now Carter missing for Ole Miss, but a foul on the rebound.
Look at Boone right now, just trying to get an opportunity to set a screen and move all around. These guys get tangled up. Everybody out here is just trying to set the tone right now, making sure how this game is going to be played, especially by the big guys inside.
And there's Ole Miss on the board as Keith Carter knocks down a 3. Carter, a 35% shooter from the arc.
Keith is constantly in motion throughout the Ole Miss offense, and he's a guy who is a great, great basketball player when he gets that basketball with open looks.
And now a big blow for Valpo is bringing the ball up the floor. Vilshinskis, their 7-footer, called for a foul, and that's 2 quick ones.
A lot of tucking going on right now, too. Guys are getting into a lot of little scuffles right now, trying to establish themselves. These guys really want to win.
So Valpo's had to sit down Vilshinskis. They still have Zoran Viskovich at 6'11", so they have one big guy in the game. Jason Smith missing. And the rebound for Valpo by Bob Jenkins. Valpo now with the twin Jenkins brothers in there, Bob and Bill. And this is Bill Jenkins with the basketball. Can't tell them apart without a number, literally. They are identical.
You certainly can't, too. That's why I have a little system right there. I'm going to call $44 Bill over there and see if I can keep up with him.
Well, there's a flash for the rebound, loose ball out of bounds, and Valpo will get another try after Jamie Sykes missed the 3.
This should be a good opportunity right now for Valpo to get their game off, especially for Drew Bryce to make sure and get the good opportunities because Ole Miss is in a man-to-man defense, and you know they've had a lot of screens for Bryce Drew.
Thus far now, 4 trips down the floor, and Bryce Drew hasn't been able to do anything. Jason Flanagan in the game, backup guard. Now Drew gets free and buries it. So there's what Bryce Drew can do if you don't track him.
Had a great opportunity right there from the out-of-bounds play, setting a double screen for him, and Bryce Drew does what a great shooter does, putting that three-pointer down.
And the play stopped here. Flanagan of Ole Miss got crushed on that screen that freed Drew, and he's down and shaken up. I believe Rob Evans wants a 20-second timeout. And it will be a 20-second timeout for Ole Miss, which they're taking really just to get Flanagan straightened out.
Yeah, well, Flanagan's job is also, of course, is to shadow Drew. And that's going to be a very, very tough assignment simply because of all the big bodies that Valparaiso brings to him. So he's going to have to make sure and stay with him.
Well, what is Valparaiso? Well, it's a very small private Lutheran school. It's in northwest Indiana. In fact, it's only about 55 miles southeast of Chicago. They moved to the Mid-Continent Conference 3 years ago. They've won 3 consecutive, well, actually they've won 4 consecutive tournament championships, but the last 3 that have qualified them for the NCAA. And of course, it's great basketball country, and that's why Bryce Drew was so eagerly sought after. And his final decision came down to Notre Dame in Valparaiso. Ansu Cisse on the board for Ole Miss.
See, Ole Miss is getting an opportunity right now to figure out the Valpo defense simply by moving the basketball, finding out in the first few trips down the floor exactly where the openings were. Now they look like they're in attack mode.
Drew with the ball. Viskovic trying to set a screen for him. Instead backs Boone down low. Hook rolls off the rim, and then Jenkins clearing out for the rebound. Bob Jenkins of Valpo will be called for the foul.
As Valpo plays defense right now, you have to understand that Cisse has been making a movement all throughout, and Carter finds him right on the baseline. But they've been doing that by getting good ball movement and moving the Valpo defense from side to side and finding the players on the interior.
Well, it might be 11:30 in the morning here in Oklahoma City, but both these teams came ready because they are really banging some bodies early.
Banging bodies hard, and Valpo's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive on the ball on the defense that they're playing right now, simply because there's a lot of people open and ball movement is good.
Whew, boy, is that a tough shot. Carter hit that one off the dribble with Jamie Sykes of Valpo right in his face.
And Carter had a few words to say to him afterwards also, telling him, "You can't stop me and I'm hot."
Well, Ole Miss loves to see that because their guards really did not do very well against Temple's great matchup zone defense in last year's tournament game. Ole Miss runs the rebound down. Michael White to Smith, who's wrapped up by Drew. And Bryce Drew preventing the layup. But that's the kind of foul that I'm sure Valpo would like anybody but Bryce Drew to be the guy taking it.
Yeah, but you get an opportunity right now to have these guys come down the basketball court on a nice play without much ball dribbling going on and finding someone going to the basket.
Well, Jason Smith, a 6'6" junior, and like so many of the Ole Miss players, he's from Arkansas. Rob Evans, unbelievably, has gone into Arkansas, and that's been the main source of the talent that he's used to build this program.
Well, he's got an opportunity to do that, and also has found some strong, very, very strong players. And these guys are running up and down the floor, being able to institute the type of game that he likes.
Rob Evans joked about the fact Nolan Richardson doesn't like him nearly as much as he did a few years ago. So Jason Smith makes both foul shots. A 7-point run for Ole Miss, and they have a 10-5 lead. Here in Oklahoma City, Ole Miss off to a 5-point lead. Also joining us, Beth Mowins with an update. Beth?
Thanks, Ted. Could be a pretty dangerous job to be trailing Bryce Drew around the floor today. The word from Jeffrey Moore, the trainer for Ole Miss, is that Jason Flanagan just got the wind knocked out of him on that recent play. Should be back in the game later on. Ted?
Well, here in Oklahoma City, first round Midwest region game, the number 4 seed, the Ole Miss Rebels in the Southeastern Conference. They're in white. Valparaiso, Mid-Continent Conference champs in gold. And the great player for Valpo, Bryce Drew with the ball. Now clearing it out to Jared Nunes, who's in the game. And a good feed to Viskovic, who's fouled by Cisse.
What is good for Valparaiso simply because they have such strong guard play. Anytime you have guards that can have an opportunity to penetrate, you can see what they create. Nunes goes to the basket. It just gives them an opportunity for Viskovic to have a great chance at a bucket.
With their 7-foot center, Vilchinskis for Valpo out with 2 early fouls. Now Zoran Viskovic, who's a Croatian, more of an offensive player. He really has to pick up the load for Valpo on the boards, defend.
Well, he certainly does, and he's capable of doing just that. He's averaging 13.6 points a game, and I think the important part of it is he's got to use that big body now to be able to help on the scoring load.
So Ole Miss leading by 4. Keith Carter going baseline and draws a foul. And so early here, a 6'4" shooting guard for Ole Miss, Keith Carter, really showing some offensive aggressiveness.
He's being very, very aggressive, and it's good simply because they're playing a zone. Valpo's playing a zone, but he's taking advantage of the one-on-one coverage that he's getting on the wing, and really he has Bill Jenkins on the side with him, and he's able to go one-on-one on him before any defender can get to him.
Now Carter knocks down the first shot. Valpo has already committed 16 fouls, and this game is only 5 minutes old. So Ole Miss going to have a great chance in this half to score a ton of points at the foul line. Now Michael White. Boy, look at that crash by Carter. He hung on the rim, which brings the Valpo bench up and screaming. And out with the ball finally comes Bryce Drew.
That's above the rim play right there, and he had to make sure and hold that up before he fell down awkwardly.
Right now, Michael White, the point guard for Ole Miss, matching up with Bryce Drew, but he's getting a lot of help. Where Drew goes, white shirts are following.
They're keeping an eye on him for sure, and they better.
Shot clock running out, so Nunes has to fire and hits it. The freshman, Jared Nunes.
That was one heck of a three-point shot that he took right there, even though Ole Miss was in some very good defense, and that was his last resort shot, and he still hit it.
With a left-handed shooter moving to his right and buried it. So Ole Miss by 2.
Right now, Ole Miss is getting a lot of good looks at the basket.
Well, there's a good one from Michael White.
Valparaiso right now has the defense kid packed on back and is giving Ole Miss an opportunity to move around the perimeter. Once a guy catches, he's getting a good look at the bucket.
Now, one thing for Ole Miss right now, they've realized the memories of last year's game are long gone. They're hitting some shots, they're scoring some points. They're playing so much better ball than they did in their first-round game last year. Now, at the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the Game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed over $6.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. And now Viskovich sitting down, and Vilshinskis comes back in for Valpo. So Vilshinskis is in with 2 fouls, while Anthony Boone of Ole Miss has picked up 2 fouls, and he's out.
Now we'll see the Valpo ball movement right now that they have to have, because Ole Miss is playing some strong man-to-man defense. They're going to have to be able to set some screens and be able to get some nice openings on the one-on-one plays.
The ball knocked right away from Jenkins. Jason Smith fighting him for it, and it goes out off Ole Miss.
Jason Smith does a lot of great hustling. He's a high-energy basketball player and a guy who will be on the boards all afternoon.
It looks like Valpo's running into what many teams for the mid-major conferences see in the tournament. They're seeing quickness on defense they're not used to.
Right now they're cutting off every avenue, and it's making it very, very difficult for Valpo to get a clear shot.
That's a violation. Shot clock runs out as the shot by Jenkins did not drive.
That's an excellent play, though, also by Ole Miss, because at every point that Valpo is trying to get a pass through, there's a defensive player right there, and they're not able to put the ball into good position for any kind of good shot.
Jason Smith, and on the rebound, a foul, and this one is going against Ole Miss. Johnny Rogers off the bench picks it up. Boy, Western Michigan jumping out early on Clemson.
So what's interesting right now is that Valpo's getting, Ole Miss is getting a lot of good opportunities at the bucket to shoot, but they've got to find someone else other than Jason Smith to take the jumpers, though, Ted.
Cisse's only points thus far on a dunk. Well, yesterday was a great first day for the tournament. A ton of upsets, great performances by the lower seeds. And there's Vilshinskis backing in for Valpo.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're real big right there, too. Utilizing that big body, take a couple of dribbles, put it off the glass.
Now Johnny Rogers has the shot miss. And on the rebound, the foul goes against Ole Miss.
Well, Johnny Rogers got caught down there in the land of where there was no opportunity whatsoever. He couldn't see the daylight as Vilshinskis was all over the ball.
Well, both teams now with a lot of fouls early. 2 sits down Johnny Rogers. 2 was also sat Anthony Boone for Ole Miss, and Raheem Lockhart, a 6'8" freshman now, is making an appearance.
a big fella right there. They got a big fella to guard a big fella, too, so he'll be able to match size and some weight also with Benchilski. Oh, nice back door right there by Drew. Got missed, but got an opportunity on the other side.
And on the three, no, but a foul.
That was a great play right there by Bryce Drew. Didn't have the opportunity on the right side of the court, but backdoored, and they found him on the right side, opening him up for a nice jumper.
You would imagine that for 4 years, Valpo's worked a lot on screens to get Bryce Drew free. Did you think they'd do that in practice?
Ted, there are a lot of players sore, including his teammates.
And I think Bryce Drew just stepped down the sideline. And so the violation gives the ball back to Ole Miss.
They're going to have to find a way. Valpo's going to have to find a way to move the basketball, though, and get clear shots, simply because Ole Miss is applying so much pressure that they're not even getting an opportunity to get a clean pass, much less a shot.
Jozon Darby, big shooter, good sixth man for Ole Miss in the game. And now Darby goes up off the wing and hits a three.
Yeah, if Jozon gets it going, it's going to be very, very tough because this guy can score in buckets.
Well, Mississippi has made 4 threes already. Great sign for the Rebels. And they lead Valpo by 6.
Greg Gumbel, Clark Kellogg in New York, 11:41 to play first half. Ole Miss leading Valparaiso 17-11. All right, Clark. Meanwhile, back to Oklahoma City, where Mississippi has a 7-point lead over Valparaiso. Ted Robinson and Rolando Blackman.
Well, in Oklahoma City, Mississippi leading Valparaiso 18-11. Just out of the last time out, the only point that has been scored, a foul shot by Raheem Lockhart of Ole Miss. And now, Bill Jenkins of Valpo is going to go to the line after a foul against Ole Miss. Both teams are in the 1-1 already in this physical first half.
It's an important part of what's been happening right now is that Valparaiso has just been having just a very difficult time in running an offense in which it'll get them an open shot. These guys have some nice shooters and people that can play the game inside and out, but the important part of that is Ole Miss has been just doing a great job at cutting off all the angles, whether it be for a shot or even to get them a pass.
Bill Jenkins, despite the presence of the big people, he's their leading rebounder. Gives you an idea what kind of player at 6'6" he is. He scores 10 points a game. And the 2 free throws pull Valpo within 5. Now Smith off the baseline. Jason Smith.
The only problem right now is that Valpo's packed back into this zone, and Ole Miss right now is just making passes and finding all kinds of openings to clear and open shots.
The big people are getting most of the shots right now as Drew misfires, and he's flicked and fouled on that 3-point attempt by Michael White.
Great opportunity right now for Valpo, simply because Bryce Drew is the guy that has to get it going for them, and they have to find a way to get him open. That was basically one of the first clear shots they've had in the last few minutes.
Been interesting. Look thus far at what's happened, that the 2 outstanding players in this game, Cisse for Ole Miss and Bryce Drew for Valpo, haven't really had a chance to take a lot of shots.
No, it's simply because Valpo's back into a zone, making sure they're keeping an eye on Cisse. And Ole Miss, with that man-to-man defense is playing, is just so strong that no one can get open, and they can't even touch the players that are guarding Bryce Drew.
Bryce Drew averaged just shy of 20 points a game this year, a 45% three-point shooter, and 80% foul shooter. And that's going to go out of bounds off Ole Miss. So Valpo makes 2 foul shots. They'll get the ball back. And if you look at what's happened thus far, a 5-point lead for the Rebels of Ole Miss. Valpo bothered by turnovers early, and Ole Miss really shooting the ball. 4 early threes.
Well, they're doing a good job with that simply because they're getting an opportunity. Valpo's packed defense is kind of in motion, but they're not guarding specifically anybody. They need to apply more pressure there.
Jamie Sykes gets the inbounds, and that's a 4-point trip down the floor for Valpo.
Well, they need more plays from out of bounds because that's the only time they've been able to lay a body on the Ole Miss players to get an open shot.
And Homer Drew is up off the Valpo bench, now exhorting his team to try and play some defense, get a shutdown, and Drew does that as stalked up in the air. That is Jozon Darby, and the ball comes down. They say it goes out of bounds off Valpo at the last second.
Well, Bryce Drew did an even better job right there of using his quickness to rotate to Jozon Darby because he knows that he was going to get a nice 3-point shot. got his hand right on the ball as Jozan tries to get it back right there. You can see him flip it out of bounds.
Oh, look at that great play. Carter and Cisse, and they made eye contact, and you could see that coming.
Exactly, Ted. That's a play between teammates that know each other and have communicated with each other right there, right out of the out of bounds. Great communication between the two.
Keith Carter has 9 points now for Ole Miss. And finally, Valpo will take a timeout, I believe, here to save a turnover. Valpo will take a 20-second turnover, or 20-second timeout.
This is some serious communication right here as Hansu Cisse gets the basketball right out to a waiting Keith Carter as he steps right on back in. That's some nice communication between players who know each other.
Well, Ole Miss is a state school located in Oxford, Mississippi. Not a bad drive out of Memphis, over 13,000. But you can see, I mean, this has been a school, football, football, and football. Just the third time they've ever made the NCAA tournament. They were knocked out in the first round in each of their first 2 appearances. When Rob Evans took over at Ole Miss, he had to fight an awful lot of history and tradition to recruit, not all of it positive. For example, Hansu Cisse out of Houston's mom did not want him to attend Ole Miss, fearing that it would not be a good place for a young African-American male. And it was Rob Evans' wife that got on the phone with Hansu Cisse's mother in Houston, mom to mom, and convinced Mrs. Cisse that would be a good place for her son to be.
And it certainly has been. The gentleman has only been the SEC Player of the Year and also an All-American. So it's worked out very well for Hansu Cisse.
The ball will come back to Valpo. So as you see the scores, Western Michigan continuing the 9-point lead over Clemson. Western Michigan, an at-large team that raised some eyebrows out of the Mid-American Conference. But I'll tell you, yesterday's results, I said the lower-seeded teams, the at-large teams certainly upheld a lot of the decisions the committee made and putting them in.
Completely so. This is going to be almost a wide-open tournament, Ted, but teams are going to have an opportunity to play and get themselves going here in this NCAA.
Valpo here's hanging with Ole Miss in the first half.
You can see the strong man-to-man defense being played by Ole Miss.
I'll tell you, that 2-man game there, Jamie Sykes looked like he just didn't want to shoot.
He didn't want to shoot the basketball from out there. He got in a great opportunity when Viskovich gave it right back to him, but he decided to drive into the teeth of the defense. And, of course, Ole Miss has been playing strong in this first half.
Now Bob Jenkins replaces Bill. And I'll tell you what, I don't know. Homer Drew, they tell me, can actually tell them apart somehow, although I don't know how, as they just peaked with 1 second on the shot clock. Ole Miss fell asleep on defense and left Viskovich there.
And they haven't been doing that the whole morning, and now they're going to have an opportunity to try to get it back as Jozan takes it up real quick.
Cisse, the left-handed smooth man in the lane, gets the 2 right back from Ole Miss.
But as you can tell, though, Ted, how easy Mississippi is getting an opportunity to look at the baskets, though. Valpo's defense is so packed back that they need to step it up a little bit to apply more pressure to the Ole Miss shooters.
Viskovich feeds the cutter. Nicely done, and that'll wind up with Jared Nunes of Valpo going to the line. Well, here on this inbounds play, Ole Miss just didn't realize there was only 1 second left on the shot clock. Fortunately for Valpo, Viskovich did. And with nobody on him, calmly hit that 15-footer.
Johnny Rogers sitting back there going, okay, I think we have a full clock now, and didn't realize it and got 2 right in the face.
That happens more than you would think in college, where you just, a wild scramble ball gets knocked out of bounds, and everybody has to lose sense of the remaining time.
You always think the point guard is supposed to be responsible for the clock, but everybody needs to be responsible because you need to know when that ball goes out of bounds, how much time do I have to defend?
Here's Jared Nunes at the line. He's a freshman from suburban Minneapolis. He was the runner-up last year for the Mr. Basketball Award in the state of Minnesota, runner-up to Khalid El-Amin of UConn. That's not bad. Got to finish second.
Not at all.
And his 2 free throws have brought Valpo within 3.
Ole Miss leading Valpo 24-21, 7:44 to play. Rob Evans was not pleased at all that Valpo made that basket a couple moments ago with just 1 second on the shot clock. When they came over to the bench during the timeout, he sat them all down and said, fellas, for the rest of this tournament, no matter what you do, if you see 1 second on the shot clock, you find a guy, any guy on the court, and make sure he's guarded. Ted?
And I'm sure he didn't say it in a loving way.
just like Beth did. I'm sure it was quite different, Ted.
Well, Ole Miss with a traveling call. So the Rebels, I'm sure, were feeling pretty good about the way they started. And all of a sudden you look up, 7.5 minutes to go in the first half. Valpo's right in the ballgame.
Well, they're starting to find the movement right now. The defensive pressure that they've had to go against right now surprised them a little bit. Now they're handling it a little better. As you can see now, ball movement is starting to happen. And once that starts to happen, they'll be able to get some nice screens and schools.
Oh, Valparaiso, the 13th seed in goal, and their outstanding guard. Their leading scorer in school history, Bryce Drew, just hitting a 2-point jump shot. He has 7 now in the game, and the 13th seed has pulled back within 1 point of the 4th seed Rebels of Ole Miss.
It's taking them a little while, but they're getting comfortable right now with that Ole Miss pressure.
And now Ansu Cisse says, all right, Valpo's big man's going to do it. I'm big going to do it for Ole Miss. The All-American, second-team All-American, Ansu Cisse, the SEC Player of the Year. And he now has 6 points.
We're going to have to get somebody on him, though, because they're scoring a little bit too easy once they get the basketball on the offensive end.
Inside 7-footer Vilshinskis missing for Valpo. Well, both these teams tournament experienced. Both lost in the first round last year. Cisse now has apparently had a contact lens jarred free, which for him is an improvement. Last year, in Ole Miss's first round game against Temple, Cisse had 2 teeth knocked out.
He was in tremendous pain during that time also.
He wound up coming back into that game and played in the second half, scored 14 points, but was not really the player Ole Miss leans on.
Well, they have their opportunity right now. Both teams are 0-2 in their NCAA tournament appearances, and right now they're battling back and forth, really trying to figure out each other as to how they're going to exploit the defenses.
See how Cisse had that contact jarred on his move against 7-footer Vilshinskis. Fortunately, he found it.
It was sticking right there out, too, on that drive to the bucket.
Well, Ole Miss won 22 games this year. They made the top 10 in the rankings, first time in school history. But now they want to justify it all and erase the disappointing memory of their first round exit a year ago in the tournament. Now a steal. Bob Jenkins with it for Valpo with Sykes. That 2-on-1 does not work.
They have an opportunity to get the basketball in there.
And Jenkins now finishes the great pass from Bryce Drew.
Valpo is starting to figure it out. They're starting to get their confidence right now, and they're starting to make the good moves and good passes through that tough Ole Miss defense.
So Valpo back within a point. At one time, Ole Miss had a 7-point lead.
Valpo's decided right now not to sit back in the zone and try to get on out there and challenge the Ole Miss offense.
Michael White forced a shot. Here comes Bryce Drew with the ball. Left all the way. Jozon Darby nicely forcing him out. Inside, Viskovich is fouled by Cisse to prevent a layup.
Nice play right there by Nunes. Get the ball here too. Right in the break, before the defense can get set, he gets an opportunity to find Viskovich. He gets an opportunity to get 2 for Valparaiso. And right now, the Ole Miss defense is breaking down just a little bit right now. They're not cutting off the passing edges anymore.
And that's a big one. Cisse, 2 fouls. 5:22 to go in the first half.
They've got to have him in the basketball game, and also they've got to have him in a set position in which he can get the ball to get an opportunity to do some good scoring.
Now Ole Miss brings in a platoon, 3 new bodies, and Cisse, one of the 3 that will sit. So we'll keep track of how the game goes with Cisse out. Viskovich makes that foul shot to give Valpo its first lead since 5-3.
Well, they've switched to the man-to-man now. They've gotten their energy up right now, so they're the ones trying to apply the pressure to Ole Miss and change the defensive structure.
There's a large contingent of fans who made the trip from Mississippi here, and they're trying to get the Rebels fired up. Keith Carter. Well, Keith Carter's been their best offense in the first half, 11 points.
Now, there's a guy that can play a tremendous vertical leap, always in constant motion, and has the ability to shoot the basketball.
And Jared Nunes bringing the ball up as Bryce Drew is out of the ball game right now for Valpo. Here's a steal by Carter, and he is fouled by Jenkins.
I tell you what, boy, Keith Carter is a guy that can play. Not a lot of people know about this kid, but this guy can play above the rim action, put the ball in the hole, and you can see by the aggressive defense that he has right now and running down that basketball and going to the hoop. And watch at the end here, they try a little dipsy do a la Michael Jordan action, trying to get that ball off the glass.
Well, here's a 6'4" shooting guard, and he averaged 6 rebounds a game this year.
Well, he's on the boards. He's a guy who applies himself because of that vertical leap that he has and his ability to get inside. He's not afraid to utilize it very well.
And Bob Jenkins, or actually Bill Jenkins, starting forward for Valpo, now has left the game. 3 fouls on him. Carter hits both foul shots. A 13-point first half for Keith Carter. And Ole Miss has a 3-point lead. Now Bryce Drew is back in the game, so his rest, not very much. He averaged 36 minutes a game for Valpo this year. Also in is Jason Jenkins for the Crusaders as Drew misses, ball out of bounds.
Bryce is going to have to make sure and get an opportunity to not handle the basketball so much. He can't be asked to bring the ball up the court, make the first pass as well as run through all of those screens, because I tell you what, before this game is over, Bryce Drew will be wiped out if he has to handle both responsibilities.
Well, Bryce Drew has 7 points and 4 assists already. We've been busy setting up other people. But you're right, at this level, that's a hard thing to ask him to do. Ole Miss leading by 3, 4:13 to go in the half. Now we look at the Microsoft Data Bank. Valpo, one of only 4 schools to win regular season and conference tournaments 4 consecutive years. Now that's pretty elite company to be.
That's strong. That's what you're talking about. That's strong. You win 4 times, 4 conference wins, 4 regular season wins. That's some serious consistency, and it must be also because of great coaching, and they have great player like Bryce Drew.
Well, this man, Keith Carter, comes from a town of 100, Perryville, Arkansas. He's having a huge half, 14 points. And now Ole Miss has scored 5 straight points to take the lead.
Nice little offensive rebound there by John Cantrell. Just couldn't put the 2 back for Ole Miss.
Valpo's cleared out of side of the floor now for Bryce Drew. Now he plays the pick and roll with Jenkins. Wipe it out, offensive foul.
Man, Boone ran over there very, very quickly and got an opportunity to get that charge. Puts himself right in front of Bob Jenkins. Watch the play goes on down. Goes to the bucket, gets an opportunity, and watch him land right there.
Boy, Valpo didn't like that call. It's the 3rd on Bob Jenkins and wipes out a basket. Well, let's take a look. It's an awfully tough call to make, but this one goes against Valpo. May not be one that they are going to like.
Well, it's a tough play simply because as he jumped into the air, Boone was not set, and you've got to give that player a great opportunity to make sure that he's set before you jump into that air.
And that's a crucial foul. Both of the Jenkins twins now for Valpo with 3 fouls each. But so much for Ole Miss. The setup was about Ansu Cisse, but the man with the ball right now, Keith Carter, 14 first half points.
Well, he's hard to guard. He's a guy who's constantly moving, and he has the consummate skill.
Jason Flanagan with a miss, and there's a good rebound by Viskovich for Valpo.
Using that big body of his, he's going to have to do more of that, especially when those caroms come off in his area.
Meanwhile, Bryce Drew for Valpo had 8 threes in their tournament game against BC last year. Just 1 so far in the first half, but there's another great assist, his 5th of the first half, as he sets up Viskovich.
And now they're utilizing their strength, which is passing, ball movement, and people movement, utilizing Viskovich's big body and Bryce Drew's great passing.
Well, just a 2-point game as we're under 3 minutes to go in the half.
You can tell a little bit of the tide has changed right now as Valparaiso has gotten themselves into this game with high energy play and turned it around on Ole Miss by applying pressure to them and see how they've handled it.
Meanwhile, Ole Miss trying to play without Cisse, who's sitting with 2 fouls, and Rob Evans may keep him down. Just beating the clock is Cantrell. Look at Jason Smith. Sky for the rebound. And Carter buries another 3.
Thank you, Jason Smith. I mean, this guy is on the boards. He's a monster on the boards. In the game against South Carolina, in which they lost, this guy had 14 rebounds and a great many on the offensive end, giving guys like Carter an extra look at that hoop.
Well, Carter with 17 in the first half. Nunes. Oh, has he been a lift for Valpo off the bench? That's 8 points.
A little bit more, just a little bit more relaxed now than in that first time he had the basketball. These guys are trying to get it going. Their spirit is up.
Well, every time Ole Miss starts to stretch it out, Valpo answers and stays close. Flanagan sets up Smith. And Cantrell will be fouled on the rebound. And that's going to be the second foul on Bryce Drew.
Right now, Valpo has to give themselves an opportunity for some good things to happen for them, Ted. Simply because they're playing such great defense, but they're not applying it by getting the rebound off the board and getting themselves down the court for an offensive opportunity.
So John Cantrell will go to the line. Both teams really shoot the ball well here, both from the foul line and from the three-point line. Ole Miss has made 6 of 10 three-point shots in the first half. Now, Bill Jenkins coming back in. 3 fouls on him. Valparaiso in some foul trouble here in the first half. Cantrell makes both. And the Rebels lead by 4.
Valparaiso right now is just feeling pretty good right now. They're handling the pressure. They understand what's happening with the Ole Miss defense and getting some good ball movement. Now they can get the ball to Bryce Drew and also their big guys inside.
Well, here in Oklahoma City, it's been a very good first half with the 13th seed Valparaiso in gold, and they've hung right with the 4th seed Rebels of Ole Miss. Here's Bryce Drew, Valpo's great guard, trying to beat the shot clock. And off the loose ball rebound, Ole Miss out with it. Jason Flanagan running. Ole Miss has led most of the way, but Valpo has been able to stay close. Biggest lead for the Rebels was 7 points. And Keith Carter for Ole Miss has been their top scorer, 17 points in this first half. Look at Jason Smith. He's been a monster on the boards for the Rebels. And finishes.
And that's where he's strongest. Valpo right now is sitting back in the zone, and they're letting Ole Miss move the basketball around the perimeter and leaving Jason Smith open. So he gets a straight shot at the basket once that ball goes up in the air, and he does a wonderful job getting those offensive rebounds.
Ole Miss has kept All-American Ansu Cisse on the bench the last 5 minutes here with 2 fouls. Bryce Drew of Valpo with the ball right now, playing with 2 fouls. He has scored only 7 points. Now, the last shot by Drew, knocks it down for 2. And that's how the half comes to an end here in Oklahoma City. Well, there's the man that he wasn't probably the highlight of Valpo's preparation for this game, but Keith Carter sure was at halftime.
Well, he was strong. And when you get a kid like that who's so talented and can do it all, and also the game is so important to him, Ted. He wants to get out there and help his basketball team get their first NCAA win.
You know, Keith Carter against the good teams this year for Ole Miss was great. In the 5 games they played against the top-notch opponents, 3 of whom were NCAA teams, Carter averaged over 22 points a game.
And you can see now that they're moving the basketball and have Carter running along the baseline.
The outside, Cisse with a miss, and cleared by Bill Jenkins, who starts the second half for Valpo with 3 fouls.
Ole Miss is going to have to hit some jumpers, though. They're going to be able to try to beat this Valpo basketball team.
Inside, Viskovich, the little floater, and here's Valpo within 2.
They're finding their range right now. Right now, Valpo is going to the 2-2-1 zone.
Cisse floating outside, something I'm sure Valpo prefers, seeing Cisse. And here's a steal, and out with the ball is Jenkins.
Good applied pressure right there.
Drew is open. Bryce Drew knocks down the 3, and Valparaiso leads here in the first minute of play in the second half. Now 2 players down, and it's Anthony Boone of Ole Miss that is not quick to get up.
My goodness, I tell you what, Anthony Boone has gone through so many different pieces of surgery right now. That knee is beat up. The banging going on inside right now. He just gets his leg caught up right there as Benchilskas kind of knocks knees with him. And you know how battered Anthony Boone's knees are, Ted.
Well, he doesn't have it.
Oh, my goodness.
The doctors have taken them all. There's a young man, 4 knee surgeries since he's enrolled at Ole Miss. He's been such a source of inspiration to their program. They retired his number his senior day. The first basketball player ever at Ole Miss. And now a traveling violation called against White of Ole Miss. Well, Bryce Drew hit the final shot of the first half, remember, and now the first 5 points of the second half have gone to Valpo.
They're finding their way right now. They're finding their way all the way throughout. And you can see how comfortable they are right now as the level of defensive intensity has dropped off for Ole Miss.
Wow, 9 straight points for Valpo. And Rob Evans sees it, 22nd timeout. And it's Bryce Drew, the coach's son, whose dad had to make a visit to his own home, just like any other coach, to recruit his son, and won the battle. And now Valpo, with a 9-point run, has the lead. The halftime numbers, you see 3-point shooting for Ole Miss in the first half in particular. Very, very positive. And of course, the huge half for Carter, 17 and 7.
Carter's doing the job, though. He's moving along the defense that Valparaiso is putting up, and he's the lone wolf out there as he moves from side to side, utilizing his skill to be able to shoot the basketball as well as drive it to the bucket.
So Valpo with a 3-point lead. Ole Miss with the ball. They played 90 seconds of the second half. Now Jozon Darby in the game for Ole Miss. So Darby trying to give him some offense off the bench and does just that. Buries the three.
Jozon Darby always comes off the bench with his eye on one thing, on that orange that's right in front of him. And that's exactly what Ole Miss needs right now. Just a little bit more of an offensive punch to get their energies up.
Well, Valpo's grown up a lot. They lost by 40 points to Arizona 2 years ago. Only lost by 7 in the first round to Boston College last year. And now they've got Ole Miss in a tough game right here in the second half as Vilshinskis is fouled.
Well, Valpo's been doing a better job right now with the good ball movement, with Bryce shooting the basketball, setting screens and setting the big guys up. Right now on the low block, they are scoring Ole Miss by 14 to 8. So they're getting that basketball inside, and the guys are delivering.
Here's Tony Vilshinskis from Lithuania. Yes, even schools like Valparaiso have found how Europe can be a great mining ground for talent. Lithuanian Vilshinskis and a Croatian, actually 2 Croatians on the Valpo team, one of whom has not played today.
Well, with the recruiting war so hard and so rough here in America, you got to find every source you possibly can. And of course, Europe becomes just another.
So Valpo with a 1-point lead. Now Darby missing a 2-pointer. And it'll be out of bounds to Valpo. Now let's get an update from Beth Mullins.
Thanks, Ted. Well, the report from Jeffrey Moore, the trainer for Ole Miss, is that Anthony Boone jammed his left knee. It's the same knee that he hurt in January that had him out of action for a while. However, not as serious this time around. He's walking it off right now. They expect him to return. Ted?
All right, Beth. Well, Friday might be like Thursday in the tournament. How about that? Western Michigan's ahead. Iona's ahead. And here in Oklahoma City, Valpo is ahead. And Bryce Drew, to avoid a turnover, takes a 22nd timeout. And there is Anthony Boone. They call him the heart and soul of the Ole Miss team. You talk about a young man that really is what this tournament is supposed to be about. He's an honor student in chemical engineering. He's the president of the campus chapter of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They call him the best low post defender in the Southeastern Conference when he's healthy. They retired his jersey at senior day. Now, he averaged 5.5 points a game this year. Those are not the type of kids who usually get their jersey retired.
It's not though, Ted, but you're talking about the total kid. This is what exactly embodies athletics right here, with this guy being the heart and soul, and also the opportunity for him to be a true student athlete, valedictorian, a guy who's doing a great job at school as well as the athletics. And you can see the heart that he pours into it by coming back from those 4 knee surgeries.
Now the lob thrown by Drew, and it's broken up by Ole Miss. And Cisse out with the ball. Well, Ole Miss, I'm sure, would like to see Cisse get going as Cantrell misses a 3. Long rebound, Bryce Drew to the ball. Now he'll stop for 3. And Sykes with a rebound. Now Sykes with the left-hand dribble. Lobs it in for Viskovich. And the roll doesn't go for Valpo, and Cantrell rebounds for Ole Miss. But Cisse has been a little quiet today, just 6 points.
And he hasn't had an opportunity to touch the basketball.
Well, Valpo just didn't even bother to guard Cantrell. Second straight trip down the floor, and he burned it.
Well, they don't believe really that he can shoot and hit that three-pointer. He's taking a few right now, and that's the first one that he's hit. He's getting wide open.
Well, Cantrell is a good three-point shooter.
Oh, he is. He can bury it, so they better keep an eye on him. It's 0-0.
43% on the year. So the Rebels have the lead back by 2. Now Bryce Drew cleared out with White. Comes back to the touch. Now down low, it's Bill Shinskas. Lost it going up, and here comes Ole Miss. Valpo has both of their big guys in the game, and now a double dribble will be called. Discontinued dribble against Cisse.
That's what Cisse is not in rhythm right now, too. You can see the forceful nature of his basketball game.
Southeast Conference Player of the Year, as voted by the coaches. 6 points, but Ole Miss has the lead. Was there some excitement yesterday? 3 one-point games, a couple of overtime games. Indiana won its first game in 4 years in the tournament. A fabulous individual performance by Elijah Allen of Fairleigh Dickinson. And here we are today, Rolando, in these first games of the day. 3 of the lower seeds are either ahead or right in the game.
Well, some serious competition going on, and they want to get an opportunity to win. And every time you get these guys in here, the seeds can forget it because the players are not thinking about that.
Well, here's Valpo with the ball in goal, down 2. Jamie Sykes off the baseline, rebounded by Keith Carter.
That was a tough shot right now by Sykes.
And Bryce Drew back in the passing lane. That's the second steal he's had like that. Now down the lane. May have gotten away with an extra step and made a beautiful floater.
That was a sweet one-on-one move right there. He assessed the defense, saw that he was one-on-one, decided to go into a nice spin move with the floater. Great play, Bryce Drew.
Cisse with a tough shot. Knocked out of Carter's hands and out of bounds. Now this has been a game where I think the word to describe Valpo as far as resilient, because there's probably been a half a dozen times when Ole Miss felt, hey, we're going to stretch out here and get to a nice, comfortable 10, 12-point lead. But Valpo has not let them do it.
They've adjusted very well as a basketball team.
Now what's coming up next on this Friday afternoon of the NCAA tournament on CBS, St. Louis and UMass. You will see Butler in New Mexico. Here in Oklahoma City, Florida State meets TCU, and in Chicago, Stanford joins the College of Charleston.
Right now, Valpo back in the zone. You'll have to stop some of the ball movement right now. Find out where Carter is, as well as Flanagan.
Well, that's a deep 3. Long rebound, loose, grabbed by Jenkins of Valpo. So a chance for the Crusaders to take the lead. Scary thing there is I think Bryce Drew thought about that shot from about 27 feet.
He's thinking about a one-on-one play.
Well, that's a little better. Another great assist to Viskovich.
That was a great play by Drew. He saw the mismatch inside, dribbled the basketball over to him, and set Viskovich up, which is a nice play.
I'll tell you the thing about Bryce Drew that's so impressive today, it's not just the scoring, it's the assist work. As Carter gets it to go. His first points of the second half.
Strong move along the baseline. Just all those skills that he had, he's using them right there. Beating the defender to the baseline and still beating the taller defender over the top with a nice shot.
19 for Carter. Meanwhile, Bryce Drew has 14 points and 7 assists.
Playing the total game, Ted.
Viskovich muscles in on Cantrell and is fouled.
You see, Viskovich is going to have to be dealt with, though. It's an important part of what they do in the low post. Now watch Bryce bring the basketball over. He sees a mismatch happening right here, but brings the ball over, makes a nice play inside. He turns, has an opportunity to go one-on-one, and drops it.
Now meanwhile, Ole Miss watches this. Viskovich pretty much pushing Cantrell around in the low post, and now they're going to get Anthony Boone after this first foul shot back in the game.
Yeah, listen though, Ted, you got a guy right here who's 270 pounds. You better have somebody out there that can keep him out of the lane, at least keep him out of good position. And with Anthony Boone coming back in now, they'll be able to clash and match bodies in there. A lot of energy is going to be going on to keep each other out of position.
And actually, Rob Evans is going to keep Cantrell in the game and take Cisse out. And Rob Evans is talking to him over there. He's trying to say, hey, you know, this is the time. You've got to be there for us.
He's just trying to really tell him what spots on the floor to go to and what to do when he catches the basketball on the Valparaiso zone, because right now he's very tentative, not sure where to go to get his shots off.
Valparaiso's had more success down low than perhaps Ole Miss would have expected. Miskovich with 13 points. And Valparaiso has a 2-point lead. Open is Cantrell. Crashing Carter, but he's out of bounds. Well, he was there, but couldn't corral it inbounds, and Valpo gets it back.
On the Valpo zone, Ole Miss is all they have to do right now is to make sure and get a couple of passes around the perimeter, and you'll see a lot of shots by Ole Miss players around the perimeter. Cantrell, they'll be able to get some shots. Also Carter, and also Jozon Darby, but the good movement is going to be the ball.
Now both Jenkins are in there. 43, Bob Jenkins playing with 4 fouls. Now the ball loose. There's Mississippi's defense.
Well, that's a good play right there by Anthony Boone.
Darby in the lane got bumped, and he'll wind up at the line. And that might be the 5th personal on Jenkins, Bob Jenkins. Well, Ansu Cisse, the SEC Coaches Chosen Conference Player of the Year. He made 2nd team All-American, and today, quiet.
We're just a little bit confused right now. Valpo is going man-to-man. Sometimes they're going to the zone. And once he does catch the basketball, he's not able to apply all the skills that he has because he's being paid attention to and keeping him off balance.
Well, one of the Jenkins twins is done. Bob Jenkins, who was going to be subbed at the next dead ball, committed a foul on Jozon Darby, and he is fouled out with 2 points. Well, here's the question. Could they switch? Could they swap jerseys? I mean, who would know the difference? You tell me, Ro. Can you tell the difference between those guys?
I think a little bit of the eyebrow right here would be a little bit different right here. That's the only way I can tell.
Man, are you perceptive?
I tell you what, though, I can't really tell them apart at all. Those are some identical twins.
Jozon Darby at the line for Ole Miss hits the first one. They call them around Valpo because most people can't tell the difference. They just, when they see a Jenkins, they just say Bill Bob. Oh, yeah. Because they figure they can't go wrong.
At all.
Darby hits them both. And now Ansu Cisse comes back for Ole Miss along with another starter and Jason Smith. So 12:55 to go, tie game. Rob Evans gave Cisse a chance to sit, to regroup a little bit. Now I'm sure he's hoping he's going to come back in and lead the Rebels to a win.
He should be very aggressive right now after having been sat down. Also, your coach giving you a little bit of a talk as to what's happening. And plus, you're an All-American, so you should do that on your own.
Drew with an off-balance shot, and there's a rebound for Cisse.
It's a little bit more energetic right now on that play.
And it's out of bounds off Jason Smith. Quick pass up the court by Flanagan, just off the fingertips.
These guys, Ole Miss is chomping at the bit, though, to get into a running game. They want to get some easy baskets. They don't want to come down and constantly set up against the Valparaiso defense. They want to get on, so they're chomping right now. They're just having all this energy to go.
There's Drew stepping down the lane, sets it back up for Nunes. And inside there's a clear-out foul, and that's on Boone.
You can see.
Well, that's a foul and a takedown. You get 2 points for that in wrestling, don't you?
You know it. You knew, Ted, there was going to be some friction when these guys go in. Nunes takes the shot, and the bodies start clashing on the bottom. Watch the bottom play right here, too. And Shilskas has the nice advantage in there, and Boone is just trying to take him out. That's a lot of weight down there.
Third foul, Nunes with a miss, and Flanagan rebounds it for Ole Miss. So the Rebels can take the lead on this trip. Cisse has the open 15-footer. And the hands finally. Vilshinskis with the rebound for Valpo. Boy, this is starting to be like a hangnail kind of game for Ole Miss. They just can't get over the hump here to open up anything with ball.
That's Valparaiso, just not giving them a lot of options.
On the baseline, Drew's floater dances, doesn't go. Now the rebound, loose, and Flanagan of Ole Miss with it.
Oh, boy, tough pass right there. Good hands by Anthony Boone to catch that basketball.
Cisse. There's Carter. Can he be the man? Nope, not this time. That's out of bounds. Oh, that's out of bounds off Bill Jenkins of Valpo. So Ole Miss will keep it when we come back. 11 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in Oklahoma City. The 13th seed, Valparaiso and Bryce Drew playing right with the 4th seed, Ole Miss.
Welcome back to Oklahoma City. Joining me now is the wife of Homer Drew and Bryce's mom, Janet. Janet, Bryce really could have gone anywhere that he wanted to coming out of high school, but he chose to play with his dad, your husband. How special is it having them together here in the NCAA tournament?
This is a dream they had when Bryce went to Valpo, and so it's a fulfillment of a dream, the first thing. The second thing, I get to come along with the whole family, and that makes it really nice. So it's been great.
All right, we'll let you watch the rest of the second half. Ted?
All right, Beth, well seated up there with mom, was sister Dana, as Bryce Drew's pass tipped and stolen by Ole Miss. Dana Drew was an All-American basketball player at Toledo. And, of course, Scott Drew is an assistant coach on the Valpo bench. And the whole family, indeed, is involved in what Homer Drew has called a magical moment.
The whole sport family going on there, too. Everybody involved in sports, and each of them more than one.
Ole Miss has made just 3 of 13 shots in the second half. Game tied. Cisse in the lane, reach in, foul. And that's Bryce Drew getting caught on his 3rd personal. On the game summary, you can see the second half shooting really dismal for Ole Miss. The three-point shooting has still been pretty good for the game. And Keith Carter hasn't been the factor, Rolando, in the second half that he was in the first half.
Well, right now they're paying a lot more attention to him, and they have to now try to find somebody on the inside to get some points. Because the most important thing right now is to have a balance. Keith Carter is being taken a look at.
I would think Ole Miss is trying to get Cisse, and maybe that's what they're doing here. Trying to get Cisse the ball, trying to get him involved.
They are trying to get him involved, but the important factor with him now is that he's off balance right now. He's not sure how to react against this Valpo defense.
Boy, there's an open 3, and Darby knocks it down. Well, Jozon Darby has been the offense in the second half. He scored 8 for Ole Miss, and the Rebels lead by 3 again. Boy, great games going on. Iona and Syracuse in a tight one. And Western Michigan now seeing Clemson make a run in the second half.
Right now, Valparaiso is going to have to make sure to get an opportunity to get some good baskets here, because I can see Bryce Drew right now. The same thing we talked about in the first half. He's working so hard, but he's playing point guard and the 2 guard. He's breathing really hard right now.
Something that they didn't want to make a big deal out of Valpo, but Bryce Drew does have a slight hamstring problem that they told us would, Homer Drew said, might affect his left-handed Jared Nunes takes it to the basket.
He's taking up some offensive opportunity right here. Everybody's keeping an eye on Drew, so they've got to make sure and help him out by going to the bucket.
Darby missing. Big for that rebound, and a foul on Ole Miss, I believe. Carter went up with Jenkins. Carter hit the deck. Carter picked up the foul.
Boy, that was really rough right there, too. I just saw Keith go right on up. And Jenkins right up over the top of him, but I didn't see that much contact happen on the play.
Wow. Well, that's if you had replay, that'd be one that they'd take back. That'd be one they take back.
Also, it's kind of clear right there, too. Only not very much contact right there to make a call.
And Jenkins finishes another Bryce Drew assist.
And you can see now how much attention Bryce Drew brings to the double team happens for him and leaves Jenkins wide open to the slip right to the bucket for the dunk.
There's Darby. He got whacked. So a hand reaching in there, and Jozon Darby go to the line.
Valparaiso is doing a good job on their zone defense. What they have to do right now is to make sure that they don't reach in that, because they're doing a good job with it. Now watch this now. Paying so much attention. He gets an opportunity to go right to the bucket. Cisse never did get back on Jenkins to stop the play.
I'll tell you, Bryce Drew, by playing at Valparaiso, knew it. He knew he wasn't going to be on television an awful lot. He wouldn't be covered by the major city newspapers an awful lot. He has made up for it. Last year, 8 3-point baskets in the tournament against Boston College. And today, although the scoring numbers aren't that kind of numbers, the overall game has just been fabulous.
I think if you're a talent, you're a talent. And I think the opportunity to play with his father and have a special relationship, he's gotten an opportunity to go to Valparaiso. And look at what happened. He has a great career. The guy is a player. He'll be found.
He has been. He has been. Just over 9 minutes to go. Ole Miss by a point on the Darby foul shots.
Ole Miss back into man-to-man, but you can see it's not as intense so far right now.
And a nice bank shot. Viskovich has 15 points.
Valpo doing a good job moving the ball from side to side and finding Viskovich by himself inside. Was a potent score when guarded one-on-one.
Play Play off Cisse. Remember, Bryce Drew has 3 fouls, so still 8.5 minutes to go. He has to be somewhat cautious.
Ansu not finding the basketball in positions in which he can get an opportunity to score.
He takes it himself, and the great dish. Well, he drew the defense and gave it to Boone.
Those are the kind of plays Ansu's going to have to start making. He realizes the defense is keying on him. So by being an offensive player that he is, if he takes it to the basket, commanding a double team, he can do a great job for his teammates, as you saw in that play by Anthony Boone, getting a nice dunk.
Third assist for Cisse, 6 points. He has not scored in the second half. And Ole Miss has the lead. They led by 4 at the half. They lead by 1 now. Muscling in, Bill Jenkins.
Well, utilizing that strength that he has right then. Also understanding that he had Cisse on him, who doesn't want to foul. Took him right to the basket for a nice layup.
Valpo really muscling inside. Much more so against Ole Miss than many people might have thought. The screen. Cisse with a miss. So Valpo up by a point. They have the ball. Well, now they've reached the point where they believe. I'm sure they thought they could, but now they know they can.
They're struggling a little bit at first against the pressure, but now these guys are putting it on in.
Drew hits the 3. Bryce Drew with 17. And now Valpo has its biggest lead. 4 points up.
What a shooter, what a shooter. Hands go down, the ball goes right up. Bryce Drew really knows how to shoot and use a defense.
And Ole Miss will take a 20-second timeout. Homer Drew, he doesn't really, in a lot of ways, he's not like the typical college coach we see. He smiles a lot. During the game, it's tense, intense moment. He's over there loving what he sees.
Watch Drew catch the basketball. Now watch Flanagan put his hands down to try to play defense. Look, he says, I'm not even going to move right now. Bring him down and just shoot right in his face. Why do I have to dribble anymore? He's got the range. He's got the touch. Drills it on in.
Bryce Drew, 17 points today and 8 assists. Just a magnificent all-around game.
Special for Bryce Drew to play for his father, but I think it's also special for the rest of the players to play for Homer Drew, simply because of the great personality that he has and his caring personality as a coach.
So Ole Miss trying to regroup with the 20. Valpo by 4, sitting in a zone. Raheem Lockhart on the floor now for Ole Miss. Flanagan up top. There's a big one for the Rebels. First points for Jason Flanagan.
That's exactly what will save Ole Miss right there. Good ball movement, because there are gaps in the Valparaiso defense, but they'll get some good open shots. All they have to do right now is hit them.
Sykes, good dish. Viskovich waits, draws the foul. Keith Carter came down on him.
You can see what happens right now when you have a good big man down low waiting and a nice penetration, because with penetration draws defenders, and a big fella down low, many opportunities.
What else we saw early, Rose, we see the finish here by Viskovich.
Well, Viskovich right now goes on up into the air, and Keith Carter just takes a big mega swing right there, but it was a good drive and good position. Why Viskovich right now is on the line.
Early in the game, it certainly looked like Ole Miss's defensive quickness, the defense that has caused so many SEC teams problems, was really bothering Valpo. Second half, they have no problem with this.
Not at all. They're putting it all together right now. They seem very, very confident.
So 2 foul shots for Viskovich. Well, Ole Miss, the 4th seed, is hoping their man, Ansu Cisse, can bring them back from a 3-point hole. In Oklahoma City, Valparaiso, the 13th seed, leading Ole Miss by 3. The 2 players we talked about at the outset. 2 of the best players most of America hasn't seen much of. And Bryce Drew, the coach's son, at Valpo has been magnificent. Ansu Cisse, 2nd-team All-American at Ole Miss, 6 points, 3 rebounds. Just hasn't been a factor.
Right now he's just trying to get his game off, find the niche within that Valpo defense, and be able to apply his skill. They're doing a good job of keeping him off balance with some nice help defense.
And there's Drew with a steal. Coming down 1-on-2, he's hacked from behind. And Bryce Drew will end up at the line.
Bryce Drew is such a fantastic player. Taking that ball to the bucket, not veering off to the side, getting an opportunity. Now watch the defensive structure right here. As he keeps those hands going, takes the ball from Josiah Darby and goes right to the basket. He's looking, probing right now, going to the bucket. Such a tremendous player.
You look at all the numbers now. He has 8 assists. He has 4 steals in this game.
Playing the total game. and utilizing all the skills that he has also. Ole Miss has been applying some hard pressure, but he's still found a way to get his game off. Sometimes from a teammate screen, but a lot of it has been his great individual skill in getting his shots off.
Well, great finishes ahead in Lexington and Chicago in the first games today, and there may be one here. Valpo leading by 5. This matches their biggest lead. Cisse forcing it, gets it back and finishes. First points of the second half for Cisse.
He's probing, trying to find his niche right now. Got an opportunity to get in there, and lucky enough to get the basketball back for an easy deuce. Maybe that'll get him going.
Well, that's a great sign for Ole Miss. The fact he took it. He was aggressive.
He has to be aggressive though, because he is the leader of this Ole Miss basketball team, and they count on him heavily to be able to come through.
Viskovich carries it through the lane, and he is bodied by Lockhart. So a foul on Ole Miss.
Right now, Cisse is just trying to find himself. He goes to the bucket aggressively, trying to put it off the glass. Gets an opportunity to do so, but he needs to do more of that, because within himself right now, Ted, he's a little bit confused and not knowing exactly where to go on the floor and what to do once he gets that basketball, simply because Valparaiso has been doing an even better job of keeping the All-American off balance.
Zoran Viskovich. Cisse with 8 points now and 4 rebounds. Viskovich gets kind rolls on both. Viskovich has 19 points now. And Valpo's having a great game at the foul line. They're 18 for 21 as a team.
Also playing a smart game by getting that ball to Viskovich, because he's having one-on-one coverage.
Look at Cisse going in again, and he draws the foul. Bill Jenkins slams Cisse. Well, the CBS Sports Line stat of the game, and I think that's got to be a big surprise that Valpo has done so much in the paint against Ole Miss. Get all your tournament teams, sortable stats, real-time scores, in-depth information, and more at March Mayhem on cbs.sportsline.com.
Cisse right now, Ted, just has to be able to get a little bit aggressive. You know, sometimes when you're a player that people are keying on and they stop you for a few times, all of a sudden you have this confused feeling as to what you need to do. You just really have to stop thinking and apply the skills that made you an All-American in the first place by being aggressive to the basket. Because even if you don't make the shot, you'll be able to apply it to giving your teammates opportunities of scoring points.
There's Bill Jenkins with a rebound. Now, one matchup to watch when Ole Miss has the ball. Bill Jenkins is guarding Cisse. He has 4 fouls. The other Jenkins twin is already fouled out.
And that's a tough matchup, especially if they're going to go one-on-one. Cisse has to make sure to apply himself and utilize his great quickness and dribbling to be able to get some points.
The lane, Sykes, Drew being trailed by Jozon Darby. Viskovich leans in, and that's an offensive foul. That was a clear one. He leaned in and knocked over Lockhart.
That wasn't too tough right there, too. He got the basketball, but one even better position. And Lockhart just said, let me just stand right here because this guy's steamrolling me. Gets the nice call, good position.
So Ole Miss with the ball. They're down 4. 4:50 to play. Cisse gives it off for Darby. Ball hung, didn't drop, out of bounds to Valpo.
See, even though that shot missed by Darby, Cisse did a good job by driving to the middle, applying, everybody collapsed on him, and Darby got a good look at it. He has to do more of that. Either he has to score or help his teammates to be better by getting a chance at the bucket.
Now, all by himself, Nunes missed the 3. Boy, Bryce Drew, you really look at Drew now, and it looks like he may be feeling the effects of the effort he's had to put out in this game.
Well, he's going to need a little bit of help.
Carter. That's what Ole Miss needs. Carter, 22 points. And now it's a 1-point game. And I'm looking at Bryce Drew and thinking, Rob, is he starting to feel it?
He's going to start to feel it because he's been doing a lot of motion, a lot of movement. Every now and then, another one of the Valpo players is going to have to apply themselves and be able to drop a bucket every now and then.
Under 4 minutes to play. 1-point game. And there's one. Sykes, just his second field goal for the senior.
That type of play gives Drew an opportunity to have and get a breather.
Cisse calling for the ball, screaming for it, and he got pushed. Sykes just came over and basically shoved him on the way in.
Sykes had no opportunity. He really didn't need to do that. He just had to just make sure to apply himself, because Cisse right now is confused with what he's getting it done. But he's getting the basketball, and now he's taking it to the bucket, which Ole Miss sorely needs.
Cisse, Carter, and Darby. Those are the three men for Ole Miss. Taking the scoring load on in the second half. Darby early in the half, now Cisse and Carter starting to score. That point gets Cisse into double figures. So 3:41 to play. Ansu Cisse now with 11 points. And Ole Miss is back within one. What is Bryce Drew enduring during this stretch run for Valparaiso? Watch how Bryce Drew gets bumped.
Well, he has to get bumped simply because Jason Flanagan knows that he's playing against a great basketball player. He's shouting him all over and also trying to wear him out, wear him down, make him utilize a lot of energy, so at the end of the game, Bryce Drew won't be as fresh to help finish for Valparaiso.
Bryce Drew sat out 3 minutes of the first half, and that's it. He's been out there the rest of the way. Valparaiso, the 13th seed, in gold, and they have the ball with a 1-point lead.
We were just talking about them. That's why you just saw Jamie Sykes bring the basketball up now, and now Bryce has the basketball in his hands, just trying to get as much energy as possible. But watch what they're doing right now, just setting themselves offensively, taking a look to see exactly what Ole Miss is doing, because they know that good jumper is going to come off of this if they can apply themselves here in the late going.
It's going to be Bryce Drew himself taking it for three. Rebounded. Jason Smith pulls it down, and so now Ole Miss can take the lead as we go under 3 minutes remaining. Cisse. Carter. Down low, it's Lockhart. And the muscle move will put him at the line.
Good ball movement. Good ball movement right now. Getting an opportunity to move the basketball from Cisse over to Carter. Guys who are great offensive players. They double them, and all of a sudden now have an opportunity for Lockhart to go down low.
So freshman Raheem Lockhart will go to the line. Ole Miss and Valpo, both teams great at the line today. Lockhart, only a 32% foul shooter on the year. He's made 2 out of 3 so far.
So he realizes where he is, and also looks like the pressure's not bothering him at all, because he hit that one very nice.
How about that?
Looks like a smooth stroke to me.
Boy, that's big for Ole Miss. So now the Rebels have the lead back. 2:50 to go. The Ole Miss section's up now and standing. And Jason Flanagan, not Michael White, but Jason Flanagan, freshman guard, getting the challenge here of stopping Bryce Drew down the stretch. But a timeout has been called by Valpo. 2:45 remaining in Oklahoma City. First round Midwest region. It's Ole Miss by 1. Oklahoma City, our first game, 2:45 to play. Ole Miss leads by a point. Ole Miss with 2 full timeouts left. Valpo with a full and a 20. Both teams are in the bonus. And about to be in the double bonus. The arrow to Valpo. Just breaking out of the huddle during that timeout, Bryce Drew called the 5 players together on the court. And they had a players-only quick 10-second huddle.
I just want to make sure good. Exactly that right there, to handle that basketball and play with courage coming down the stretch.
So now Ole Miss with it, and a 1-point lead. And Ole Miss has gone with freshman guard Jason Flanagan running the offense here for most of the second half.
Now they've broken into a man-to-man defense, trying to apply pressure once again.
And Viskovich over the back of Lockhart, fouls. So that will put Lockhart back at the line. It's the 9th team foul. So it'll be a 1-and-1. This will be the last 1-and-1. Well, Syracuse survived. Syracuse beats Iona. Jim Boeheim beating his former assistant coach Tim Welsh. In Chicago, Western Michigan clinging to that lead over Clemson. And Lockhart has been huge for Ole Miss down the stretch. I mean, a terrible foul shooter during the year and limited playing time.
I'll tell you what, you can't tell Raheem Lockhart that whatsoever, because he's putting him down smoothly.
And look at Carter fighting for the rebound, but Jenkins snags it. So Valpo stays in it. Ole Miss by 2. Bryce Drew Trying to draw contact, but it's too far from the basket.
Good offensive thrust right now by Valpo.
Ole Miss has gone to a zone here, Orlando, the last couple of trips down the floor, and it's giving Valpo some trouble.
Well, they haven't seen it now. I think the important part is that they're moving around and they're doing different things.
I think Homer Drew sees it again, so Valparaiso will take a 20. Zone is just not done well for Valpo. Coming up next, many of you will see St. Louis and UMass, also Butler and New Mexico. Here in Oklahoma City, Florida State battles Billy Tubbs and TCU. Chicago, it is Stanford and the College of Charleston. All that in the second half of our afternoon session here on CBS. More primetime basketball coming up tonight, starting at 7:30 Eastern. Well, Bryce Drew certainly does not want this to be the final game of his college career. 19 points, 8 assists, 4 steals.
It's going to have to be a concerted team effort, not just Bryce Drew. Going to have to get Nunes out there, Jamie Sykes, be able to put some baskets through.
Big screen to set him up, and the great dump down low, but Cisse with a huge block.
Huge play by Cisse. What a great timing play.
Well, Bryce Drew made the play. It looked like Valpo at the tying basket, and Cisse blocked Viskovic. So now a timeout taken by Ole Miss. 1:35 to go, the Rebels by 2. The play Ole Miss has been waiting from Ansu Cisse comes on a block.
It's a tremendous timing play for him too. Viskovic thought he was open, but Cisse with the great timing was able to get the block. What a tremendous play. Watch the up fake. Bryce makes the play, finds Viskovic under the bucket who thinks he's open, but Cisse comes along and with a great denial.
And that was really it. Both of the premier players in this game made terrific plays. Bryce Drew made the assist that looked like would give Valpo a tie. Now a big possession is Cisse. Baseline pass stolen by Sykes.
Bad pass. He had an opportunity to go one-on-one right there, but tries to throw it across the lane, Ted, with all the hands out there, and Valpo has the ball.
Now can Valpo solve this zone that Ole Miss has thrown on him the last 3 minutes?
They have to get some good ball movement going right now. Right now, a lot of dribbling is happening right now. They have to get someone in the middle of the lane. As you can see, the free throw line area is open. One of the big guys has to get there to be able to get this ball moving, because other than that, they're all on the perimeter.
It's Sykes open, in and out. With the rebound, Valpo, Nunes. So Ole Miss in white has just survived 2 missed shots by Valparaiso. And the 4th seed, Ole Miss, clinging to a 2-point lead here in the final 33 seconds. Mississippi with the ball. There's a 9-second difference between game clock and shot clock. The 4th seed Rebels have been given an incredible run here by Valpo as Flanagan goes baseline. Doesn't get it. And the rebound to Valparaiso. And the Crusaders will have a last shot. Bryce Drew bringing it up. Drew for 3. No! Cisse for Ole Miss, and he's fouled. Oh. Bryce Drew, the coach's son, who's had a magnificent game for Valparaiso, had the shot, and it would have been for the lead. And everything that Homer Drew, who's raised a great basketball family, and Homer Drew, who had to visit his own home, his own living room, and recruit his son like he was any other player, and won the battle to recruit him. He looks up at the sky. He was hoping that that might have been the shot that could have stunned the 4th seed out of the SEC and Ole Miss.
What a heartbreaker, though, for Valparaiso. Came down and did what they had to do with a great defensive piece right there. Got the basketball back and got the basketball into Bryce Drew's hand, who passes it to Viskovic, gets it back, and has a clear look at the hoop and can't put it down.
Well, it's not done yet. Cisse misses the first one. 4.1 remaining. And now Valparaiso will take its final timeout, the timeout they did not use when they had the ball. They take it now to set up their last hope. Ansu Cisse, second-team All-American, voted by the coaches in the SEC as the Conference Player of the Year. He has had an off game today, although he had a huge block of a shot about a minute and a half ago to keep Ole Miss in front. Now, he tries to make one foul shot. That would give the Rebels a 3-point lead, 4.1 to go, and Valpo cannot stop the clock. It is no good, but Carter tips the rebound out of bounds. It'll be Valpo, but they lose a valuable second and a half.
Very tough play right there. They should have come up with the rebound. My goodness.
So now Valpo's going to have to go the length of the court, 2.5. The inbounds pass to be thrown by Jamie Sykes. Carter pressuring. It's to Jenkins, to Drew for the win! Good! He did it! Bryce Drew did it! Valpo has won the game! A miracle! An absolute miracle! Bryce Drew has done it for Valparaiso!